May the 17th, 2023. You're looking at an article this morning from Gateway Pundit. Now, it came out 9:40 p.m. last night, but it's saying that 24 Republican governors offer to help Texas defend its southern border. Texas Governor Greg Abbott put the word out that Texas needs help handling the situation at their southern border. 24 Republican governors have stepped up and answered the call. This is the job of the federal government, but Joe Biden is missing in action, so someone has to fill the void. Now, it's interesting. We're going to look at the 24 states. It's a short article, but it may have very large implications. Is this the beginning of a split? We're talking about half the states. Now, we've seen it where New California is trying to get away from the libtards on the coast, and I think Idaho, maybe one of the states right in that area, is doing the same thing that Virginia did a long time ago. Are we looking at a great divide here, a beginning of a civil war? Will the federal government step in and try to federalize the National Guard, which each governor has control over now? But how will they play this out? Will this be the destruction or the beginning of the destruction and the division that they're looking for? 24 Republican governors have responded to Texas Governor Greg Abbott's call for help to secure the border. The federal government's response handling the expiration of Title 42 has represented a complete failure of the Biden administration. The governor said in a joint statement referring to the end of the Public Health Authority Title 42, which expired at midnight on May the 11th. Title 42 allowed for the quick expulsion of foreign nationals who entered the U.S. Now, let me say this. Since the beginning of the Biden administration, Title 42 was over. Whether they wanted to admit it or not, no one was being expelled. The borders were wide open then. It says, with its end, an estimated 150,000 foreign nationals from all over the world are waiting in Mexico to illegally enter the U.S. at any moment. This is border officials. We know it's over 1 million, and probably 7 million have already come across. This is after at least more than 7 million people have been apprehended or reported evading capture by law enforcement since President Joe Biden's been in office. The Biden administration recently sent 1,500 military personnel to the border, and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security sent several thousand federal employees to help Border Patrol agents expedite processing, get them in quick. Says the governor's pledging support, in addition to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is deploying troops and resources in the next 24 hours, include those of Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. A couple of those, I'm kind of surprised that they're in there, Virginia, but really looking forward to getting North Carolina involved in this. You guys talk to your governor. Says Abbott says, I thank my fellow governors for their support as Texas responds to the Biden border crisis. Just as this was going out, Idaho and Florida had responded, but we added the other 22 states now. It says in Joe Biden's America, every state is a border state. And maybe the thing about Virginia and a couple of the other more liberal states that I mentioned is the fact that they also are recognizing that it's going to be overwhelming financially and as far as our resources. I mean, most states along the border especially or most cities in Texas along the border cannot handle it. They cannot handle the amount of water that's needed, the amount of food, and the amount of sewage that has to be taken care of. Guys, and there's people in every state that would like to join. Carrie Lake came in this morning and said that if she was running Arizona, they would be there to help. But Arizona will not step in. Look at the leadership there. New Mexico won't. Of course, California won't. Not the coastal cities. But we're starting to see a break apart. We're starting to see conservative versus demons. Basically, if you look at what that rights are, if you look at what the Democrats are trying to do with our kids, that's enough to bring the full fury of our Lord down on to this nation, and that's going to happen. This may be a chance for a lot of people to come together and try to put the pieces of this puzzle back together again. We're going to be watching it very closely, guys. Short video this morning, but you keep your eyes on this and keep your heads up. Be safe.